So students, in our previous session of real numbers, we have studied the definition of supremum and infimum, right? Supremum means there exists a smaller number which was in a set S such that it was the upper bound. The same way we also have studied about the infimum of a set. Now we are going to study in this session few theorems related to this supremum and infimum. Let us study one by one. What is the first theorem? Or first we are going to study about characteristic properties of supremum and infimum. What we are actually studying? Characteristic properties of supremum and infimum. Characteristic properties of supremum and infimum. Among that, we are going to study about the theorem, that is the necessary and sufficient condition for a real number S must satisfy the following conditions. See, there is one theorem we are going to study is that the necessary and sufficient condition for a real number theorem, the necessary and sufficient condition for a real number yes is that to be supremum must satisfy the following conditions. Must satisfy the following conditions. Among that, the first condition is that x should be less than or equal to S for all x belongs to the set S. Then for each positive real number epsilon, for each positive real number epsilon, there exists a real number, x belongs to S such that x is greater than S minus epsilon. See, what is actually the theorem given? They have given the necessary and sufficient condition. Two conditions they are there, where one is necessary condition and the other is sufficient condition of real number S to be supremum. Any real number S to be supremum, it should satisfy these two necessary and sufficient conditions. What are the conditions? The condition is that x should be less than or equal to S for all x belongs to this set S. And the sufficient condition is that for each positive real number epsilon, how it is read? Positive real number epsilon, there exists another real number x belongs to S such that this number x, this positive real number x, that should be greater than S minus epsilon. Now we shall begin our proof. Means we are going to begin the proof with the necessary condition. Okay. Proof. We shall start with the necessary condition. necessary condition. First we shall prove the necessary condition and then go on for the necessary and sufficient condition. Okay, let yes, what we shall consider is, let us consider yes which is the supremum of yes. Okay, we all know what is the definition. Let yes this be what? Supremum of yes. If it is supremum of yes, then by definition what we know? Yes is an upper bound, right? If it is supremum of yes, then by definition what is yes? Yes is an upper bound. It means what? X, it is going to be how? This x is going to be less than or equal to yes for all x belongs to this set yes. Just we have considered this yes as the supremum of yes. By definition we know that if it is supremum, then it is going to be the upper bound. If it is upper bound, how we can write? X is less than or equal to yes for all x belongs to yes. Again, if epsilon greater than 0 be given, what we are going to consider here is, if epsilon greater than 0 is given, then what will be yes minus epsilon? We are considering one number here. How it is? Epsilon. It is positive, that is, it is greater than 0 be given, then yes minus epsilon is smaller than the supremum yes. Then what is going to happen? Then yes minus epsilon is smaller than this yes of the set yes, of this capital set yes. We have considered what? Yes, it is the upper bound. There exists a number epsilon greater than 0, then s minus epsilon is obviously going to be smaller than this yes, right? Yes or no? So what is going to happen? If it is smaller than yes of this set yes, yes minus epsilon cannot be an upper bound of yes. So if it is less than yes, then yes minus epsilon cannot be an upper bound of yes. Why it cannot be an upper bound of yes? Because it is less than yes. That is why it cannot be the upper bound of yes. Yes minus epsilon cannot be an upper bound of yes. Hence there exists at least one element x belongs to yes such that x is greater than yes minus epsilon. What we are going to study here, or what we are going to say? We are going to say that there exists at least one element, hence there exists at least one element x belongs to yes such that, how it is going to be? X belongs to s in such a way that x will be greater than s minus epsilon. See, if it cannot be the upper bound, then obviously there should be an element x, right? How it should be? It should be in such a way that it should be greater than s minus epsilon. Hence what we proved? We proved this necessary condition. Hence the necessary condition. See, very simple thing. how we have started? We just considered, by the definition we have considered that S be the supremum of S. If it is supremum, then what we know by definition? We know that it is the upper bound of the set S, and that is why what is going to happen? X, it is going to be less than or equal to S for all X belongs to this set S. If so, what we considered? We consider one number epsilon greater than 0. If it is given, then if I substitute epsilon from S, what is going to happen? Obviously, S minus epsilon will be less than S of S, right? Then what is going to happen? It can, if it is less than S, it cannot be the upper bound of S. It means what? If this cannot be the upper bound of X, then at least exists one number which is going to be greater than S minus epsilon. Hence, this is the condition of necessary. Now, we are going to prove the condition is sufficient. That is the second one, or the condition is sufficient, or we are going to prove what? We are going to prove about the sufficient condition. Right now, we have proved about the necessary condition, right? How we are going to prove this sufficient condition? What is the condition given? For each positive real number epsilon, there exists a real number X belongs to S such that, okay, X is greater than S minus epsilon. We proved this necessary condition. Now, we are going to prove sufficient condition. See, 1 and 2 what they have given. Now, we are going, like, S be any real number satisfying conditions 1 and 2. What we are going to consider is, yes, let this be any real number satisfying condition 1 and 2 of this theorem statement, right? 1 and 2 of the statement of the theorem. What we considered one real number S in such a way that it is satisfying both condition 1 and condition 2 of this given theorem. If so, if it is satisfying condition 1 and condition 2 of the given theorem, condition 2, what it is? X belongs to S. Now, condition 2, that is, for all X belongs to S, what we have? We have X belongs to S, X will be greater than S minus epsilon. X belongs to S, just a second. What we are going to say? X belongs to S for all X belongs to S. X belongs to S, small letter S. For all this, X is going to belong for this capital letter S. What does this imply? What does it state? It implies that S is an upper bound of S. It implies S is an, what it is going to imply? It is going to imply that S is an upper bound of S. If S is an upper bound of S, what we are going to say? In order to show that S is a supremum of S, we must prove that no real number less than S can be an upper bound of S. That is, in order to prove this small s as an upper bound of S, what we need to prove? We need to prove that there exists no number which is going to be the upper bound of S. To prove that, what we are going to do? Let, if possible, S be another real number. What we are going to prove is that, if possible, S dash be the another real number. To prove S is an upper bound of s, what we must prove? We must prove that there is no real number. Like how? We must prove that there is no real number less than s. We must prove that there is no real number less than s. So what we are going to do now? Let, if possible, we consider s dash be another number. Okay, s dash be another real number. Let, if possible, s dash be another real number. How this s dash number will be another real number? Such that this s dash, it is going to be less than s. How it should be? This s dash, it should be less than s. Then what is going to happen? Then s minus s dash, this is going to be greater than 0, no? Why? Because this s dash, it is less than s. If it is less than s, what is going to happen? S minus s dash, that will be greater than 0. Now what we'll consider? Let epsilon is equals to, s minus s dash. We considered one number epsilon, which is equal to s minus s dash. So what is going to happen? So that this epsilon is obviously greater than 0. Why? Because s minus s dash is greater than 0. We have considered epsilon is equals to s minus s dash, and that is why what is going to happen? This epsilon, it is greater than 0. Hence, by the condition 2, there exists some x belongs to s. Hence, what is the condition 2? By condition 2, there exists x belongs to s. How this x should be? X belongs to s such that this x, it should be greater than s minus epsilon. We have considered from this second statement condition 2 only. What it is? There exists a real number x belongs to s. How it is? It should be that x is greater than s minus epsilon. If it is so, we are going to get, that is x, this is going to be greater from how? S minus epsilon, right? It is going to be greater than s minus epsilon, because we got epsilon as s minus s dash, no? S minus s dash, sorry, s minus s dash. Then what is going to happen? This implies s is greater than s dash. What we got? We got x, it is greater than s dash. If it is greater than s dash, showing that s dash is not an upper bound of s. What we are showing now? It is showing that s dash is not an upper bound of s. What it shows? It shows s dash, it is not going to be the upper bound of s. Hence, we found that s is an upper bound of s. Hence, what we found? Hence, this small s, it is going to be an upper bound of yes. What we should, since s dash cannot be the upper bound, we should s is the upper bound of all real numbers less than s. It is going to be the upper bound. Therefore, by the definition, s is the supremum. This is going to be which condition? the condition is sufficient. We first proved the necessary condition and then the sufficient condition. What we have done? We have considered any yes, let it be any real number. Then what kind of real number it is? That set yes or that real number yes, it is going to satisfy both condition 1 and condition 2. If it is so, we say that x belongs to this small yes for all x belongs to this capital set yes. Then it implies what? Yes, this is an upper bound of yes. To prove it an upper bound, what we must prove? We must prove that there is no real number less than yes. To prove that, what we consider? We consider another number yes dash which is going to be less than yes. If so, what is going to happen? S minus s dash will be greater than 0. We consider that value as epsilon. We proved that s is greater than s minus epsilon s dash, then x is greater than s dash. It shows that this s dash cannot be the upper bound of s. Since now it cannot be the upper bound of s, we showed that s is an upper bound of s and real number, right? So we proved both the necessary and sufficient condition. The same way it can be proved for the infimum. Just considering that the necessary and sufficient condition for a real number yes to be supremum. I'll keep this definition of supremum the same. We just will going to compare what it states for the infimum also. What is the condition for the infimum? Let us know it, okay? What it is? This is for the supremum. Now let us see what is will be the theorem for infimum. Okay? The necessary and sufficient condition for a real number yes to be what? It is to be supremum. What we want to study? For a real number t to be infimum. For a real number t to be infimum must satisfy the following condition. To be the infimum of a bounded below set yes is that infimum of a bounded below set yes is that this number t, this real number t must satisfy the following conditions. T must satisfy the following conditions. What are those two conditions? Here we have said that x, it should be less than or equal to s for all x belongs to s. Here we say that x, it should be greater than or equal to t for all x belongs to this set yes. And the second condition is that for each positive real number, epsilon, there exists a real number x belongs to s such that this number x should be less than t plus epsilon. This is the difference between the supremum and the infimum. Here we said x should be less than or equal to s, and here we are saying x should be greater than or equal to t. Here it should be greater than s minus epsilon and it should be less than t plus epsilon. The proof also is almost similar. This is about the necessary and sufficient condition for supremum, and this is the necessary and sufficient condition for infimum. Now let us know about greatest number of a set bounded above. Means let us study two definitions now, two different definitions. Okay. What are the definitions? The greatest member of a set bounded above. Greatest member of a set bounded above. Okay, how we are going to define it? Definition: a number epsilon, we are going to consider a number epsilon. A number epsilon is called what? Is called the greatest number is called the greatest member of set S. Greatest member of set S. To call it as a greatest member of set S, what we say? Set S, if the first is that this epsilon, it should belong to S. Epsilon should belong to S. What does this mean? That is, epsilon is itself a member of S. Epsilon is itself a member of this set S. And what about the next one? The next one is that no member of S is greater than epsilon. No member of S is greater than epsilon. Obviously, it should, for that number to be greatest, no number should be greater than epsilon. That is, epsilon is an upper bound of S. No member of S is greater than epsilon in the sense what? That is, this epsilon is an upper bound of S. Right? If it is upper bound of S, how we are going to write? So that x belongs to S. So that x belongs to S implies x is less than or equal to this epsilon. Then what we are going to say? Thus the greatest member of a set is a member of the set bounded above and is as well as an upper bound of the set. Means this greatest number is the greatest number and it is also going to be the upper bound of the set. Yes, that is a number epsilon. When we can say it as the greatest member of the set? Yes, if epsilon it should belong to S, means that epsilon itself should be a member of S. And the second one is that no member of S, it should no number should be greater than epsilon. That is, epsilon is the upper bound of S. So that x belongs to S implies x is less than or equal to epsilon. This is about the greatest member of a set bounded above. What about the other one? we are going to see about the smallest member of a set bounded below. Smallest member of a set bounded below. See what we are going to, how we are going to define. Let this be the definition. Let a number, we say a number, consider eta. Okay, a number eta is of a set S is called what? Is called the smallest member. Smallest member of what? Smallest member of set S if, what should be the first condition? Here our first condition is that epsilon should belong to S. It means eta should belong to S. This eta, it should belong to S, that is eta itself is a member of S. What about the second condition? The second condition is that no member of S, no member of S must be what? Is smaller than whom? Smaller than eta. That is, eta is a lower bound of what? Lower bound of this set. Yes. So that what should be the condition for the lower bound? For upper bound it is x less than or equal to epsilon. What should be the condition for the lower bound? It is that x belongs to S implies, so that x belongs to S implies x is greater than or equal to eta. This is the difference between the greatest member of the set bounded above and the smallest member of a set bounded below. We consider a number eta, we call it is as the smallest member. When we are going to call it as the smallest member, if eta belongs to S, that is eta, it should be the member of S, and no member of S should be still smaller than eta, that is x. If there is any number x belonging to S such that x will be greater than or equal to eta. This is all about smallest member of a set bounded below. Now let us look over the theorem. Okay, what is the theorem given? We have one theorem, that is the greatest member of a set, the greatest member of a set, if it exists, is, if it exists is the supremum, is the supremum. What is another name of supremum? We have defined it while explaining the definition. Supremum was also called as least upper bound, right? Is the supremum or least upper bound of the set. So what we need to prove? The greatest member of a set, if it is going to exist, is going to be the supremum of that set. Let us again consider the number epsilon, it be the supremum. If so, it is going to be the upper bound of S. If so, what we are going to do? Let us suppose assume that there exists another number epsilon dash which is going to be the upper bound. We are going to consider it like that and prove it. Okay. Now how we are going to begin with the proof? Let epsilon be what? The greatest member. Let epsilon be the greatest member of S. Let epsilon be the greatest member of S. Just now we have studied the definition. If it is the greater member of S, then what is going to happen? Then epsilon is going to be the upper bound of S, right? We are going to write the same as what? That is by definition. Then by definition we say x is less than or equal to epsilon, where x belongs to this set, yes, right? For all x belongs to this set, yes, of real numbers. It is by definition. Then what is going to say? For all s belongs to s, showing that epsilon is an upper bound of S. What it shows? It shows that, or showing that epsilon is an upper bound of S. Now what we are going to consider? Let us consider one more number, epsilon dash. Okay, we consider that, and what we are going to do next? That is let k be any number less than epsilon. Let k be any number. How it should be? This should be less than epsilon. So if it is less than epsilon, what we are going to say? Then there exists at least one member epsilon dash of S. Then there exists at least one member epsilon dash of S, such that, how it is? Such that which is greater than k of set S, which is greater than k of S, such that, or which is greater than k. If so, if it is greater than k, what is going to happen? If it is greater than k, we find no number less than epsilon. Hence, what we find? We find no number which is less than epsilon. Hence, what we are going to say? Hence, we find no number which is less than epsilon. If we find no number which is less than epsilon, then what is going to happen? No number less than epsilon, which can be an upper bound of S. No number less than epsilon can be an upper bound of what? Upper bound of this set, yes. Therefore, epsilon is the least of all upper bounds. Therefore, epsilon is the least of all upper bounds. So what we said that there is no number which is less than epsilon. If there is no number less than epsilon which is an upper bound of S, then what is going to happen? epsilon is the least of all upper bounds of S, upper bounds of S, and so what is going to happen? And so epsilon will be what? Epsilon will be supremum of S, right? Very simple thing. They had said that the greatest member, if it exists, is going to be the supremum, that is least upper bound of that set. For that, what we considered epsilon, let it be the greatest member of S. If it is going to be the greatest member of S, then by definition what we have? Then x will be less than or equal to S for all x belongs to S. It means what it does showing that epsilon, it is an upper bound of S. To think that it is not the upper bound, what we consider? K be any number less than epsilon. If k is any number less than epsilon, then what is going to happen? There exists at least one number, epsilon dash of h, which epsilon dash of s, which is greater than k. Means we said that if k is greater than epsilon, then there should exist one number epsilon dash which is going to be greater than k, right? Which was not possible. We did not find any number which is less than epsilon, which can be the upper bound of S. So what will happen? Therefore epsilon is the least, it is the smallest of all the upper bounds of S, and that is why epsilon, it is going to be the supremum of S. The same way we have another theorem. What is that another theorem? We have that the lowest member of a set, if it exists, what it is? The smallest member of a set, if it exists, the smallest member of a set if it exists is what? Is the infimum, is the infimum. That is, what is the another name of infimum? We have already said it, supremum is least upper bound and infimum is going to be greatest lower bound of the set. Let us prove this theorem. Okay, consider as the proof. What we are going to consider? Let eta be the smallest member of S. Okay, let eta, it be the smallest member of what? Smallest member of S. If it is the smallest member of S, then by definition what we are going to get? Then by definition, see here we had considered x less than or equal to epsilon. Then there what we are going to consider? X will be greater than or equal to eta for all x belongs to S. What does it show? X belongs to S, showing that, what does it show? Showing that this eta, what it is going to be? This eta is a lower bound, is a lower bound of S. So x is greater than or equal to eta in the sense what? This eta is a lower bound of S. Then what we are going to say? Let L be any number less than eta, or we can consider any number. We say that let T be any number bigger than eta. Let T be any number bigger than. See, what is the intention of not erasing this is that you people should understand these small differences between the supremum and infimum. By what I said next. So that is why I have written the same theorems like this. Okay. So where we were, let t be any number bigger than eta. What we had considered here, let k be any number less than epsilon. Then there exists one member. What we are going to write now? Then there exists one member. How it is? One member eta dash of S, which is smaller than what? Which is smaller than t, right? Then what is going to happen? Then there exists at least one member eta dash of S, which is smaller than t. Hence we find no number. Hence we find no number which is greater than eta can be a lower bound of yes. Then what we are going to say? Then there exists one member. Okay, there, because we said eta dash of S which is smaller than t. But what we had? We find no number which is greater than eta, which can be called as the lower bound of S. That is why what we said? Therefore, eta is the greater or biggest, greater of all lower bonds. That is, eta will be equal to what? It is going to be the infimum of S. Let us just glance once. Okay, what they have said, the smallest member of a set, if it is going to exist, it is going to be the infimum or least upper bound of that set. For that, what we considered? We considered eta be the smallest member of S. If it is the smallest member of S, then by definition what we are going to know? X will be greater than or equal to eta for all x belongs to this set S. This shows that eta is going to be a lower bound of S. So, if so, what we considered? We considered t be a real number in such a way that it is bigger than eta. If it is bigger than eta, then there exists one member eta dash of S which is smaller than t. But we do not find any number which is greater than eta and can be a lower bound of S. Since each cannot be a lower bound of S, what we said? Eta is the greatest of all these lower bound. That is, eta, it is going to be the infimum of S. So students, in this session we studied about the characteristic properties of supremum and infimum, that is the necessary and sufficient condition for the supremum and also the necessary and sufficient condition of the infimum. And then we studied about the definitions of what? Greatest member of a set bounded above and the smallest member of a set bounded below. After that, we have solved two theorems. I hope you all have understood whatever is being taught in this session. Keep studying, stay safe. Thank you.